Welcome to Lessons Straight from the Heart, where wisdom meets storytelling, where culture meets meaning, and where voices from the past echo into the future. I am Mail Dopsy, and I am your host on today's episode. Sometimes it's not what we find that defines us, it's what we lose. Today's story is about a moment when I thought I had lost everything, only to realize that I had actually found myself. I was 16 years old when I experienced my first real failure. I had worked tirelessly for months, preparing for a big competition. In my mind, I was already the winner. I could almost feel the applause, the cheers, the recognition. But when the day came, I lost. Not just by a little. I failed miserably. I remember holding the participation medal, feeling like it was a badge of shame instead of pride. After the competition, a wise man spoke to me. He had noticed my countenance. I paid no attention to his words. In my mind and heart, how could he understand my pain? Did he understand my shame? I dismissed his advice, convinced that no one could feel the weight of my failure like I did. The rest of the school term was horrible. I skipped classes, my self-esteem crumbled, and my academics suffered. When final examinations came, I was unprepared, mentally and emotionally. When the results were out, I saw my report card. 9 subjects, 9 Fs. I had failed every single one. It meant I'd have to repeat the year while my friends advanced. How do I tell my father I failed? All that money spent on private school fees. My father would grill me, break me, pound me, and remold me like a clay man's work. I delayed going home that day, hoping darkness would hide me from my shame. When it was almost dark, I finally headed home, praying my father would be asleep. I quietly opened the door and tried to sneak in, only to find my father sitting alone in the dark living room. As I crept in, he turned on the lights, his eyes sharp, but not with anger.
My child, where have you been? I've been worried. Are you okay?
I just nodded, unable to speak. Then he asked,
Today is the end of school year. Where is your academic report card?
I handed it to him with trembling hands. He read it silently, focusing on the class teacher's remarks. I braced myself, waiting for the storm. But my father looked up and said calmly,
My friend, why are you beating yourself up so much that you've lost focus on everything else? There's nothing wrong with failing. I have failed before. I have failed many times in life. In life, you fail and learn from your mistakes. Don't beat yourself up. It's time to pick yourself up and rise.
His words hit me harder than any punishment could have. Suddenly, I remembered the wise man's words from the competition.
You did not lose the competition. You lost the illusion that success defines you. But you found something more valuable: resilience. You've discovered that failure isn't the opposite of success. It's part of it.
And in that moment, it all made perfect sense. Failure wasn't the end. It was the beginning of a new lesson. In life, we're often taught to fear failure, to see it as a dead end. But what if failure isn't the end? What if it's the beginning of understanding who we truly are? Failure strips away the ego, the expectations, the noise. And beneath all that, you find the real you, the version that doesn't give up, even when the world says you should. Every person you admire has a story of failure. The difference is they didn't let it define them. They let it refine them. How often do we let failure define us? We wear it like a label, convinced that it's the end of the road. But failure isn't a dead end. It's a detour, a chance to reflect, learn, and grow. What matters is not the fall, but how we rise. Have you ever learned from failure? Share your story in the comments. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever failed at something that felt like the end of the world, only to realize later that it was a lesson in disguise? Share your story below. Let's remind each other that failure doesn't define us. How we rise does. If this story touched your heart, don't just watch or listen. Subscribe for more daily stories that connect us all. Turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. And if you know someone struggling with failure, share this with them. Lessons Straight from the Heart, where stories shape destiny. Follow at MailDopsy on all major platforms. New episodes daily. Stay tuned.